Hello and welcome to Scale Modeling's USS Arizona 1/200 scale build. It's a kit by Trumpeter, and at the moment we're at the stage of clear coating the ship. I'll put some pictures up. You can see of it drying. I'm going to give it a good full 2 days of drying. I've used a Tamiya PS13 on this as my spray for the ship. I'm using a can because it's quite a large area to cover. The smaller parts I'm using the airbrush with the clear in it. Now the anchors here, I painted them up. I forgot about them. I didn't realise I'd left them out. So they're painted. I've got the rudder clear coated now. I've kept that off because I don't want that damaged. It sticks out below the hull and handling the ship. That's usually the first thing I knock off. Also there's a crane there. It's all been clear coated. Got the catapult, this one here. So the idea of the clear coat is not just to protect the final base coat, it's the other one there, but also for the weathering process. A lot of these areas are going to get covered with different weathering products. Sometimes I use enamel paints, oil paints, and this just protects the base Tamiya acrylic underneath from being damaged at all. It also allows things like the panel line liquid, which is thin, to run across and fill all the lines as you want it to. So yeah, that's all done. So this, I've also done the planes as well. So these two float planes are all completely done now. They've got the decals on there. Let's have a quick look. It's looking quite all right. Decide not to paint white underneath. I may get in there and do a little bit more detail, but I think it's looking pretty good as it is. So those are done. So now we're up to stage 42 of the instructions here. Show you that. So the turrets are on. They're just sitting on there. I never glue the turrets down because I always like to be able to turn them around, reposition them. But they're on, and they were clear coated with the rest of the ship. The lifeboats here, including the captain's motorboat and everything, that is what we'll be working on next, putting those all down on the deck. And they're going to be a little bit tricky because they actually involve some braces, photo etch braces that hold the ones that are stacked, where there's 3 boats stacked on top of each other. As you can see in here, these ones. So I'm going to have a look at other options of doing that, other ways of tying them down. And then the next step, 43, is putting the last little 2 lifeboats that go on the side, and then we put the cranes on. Just a matter of attaching them, and then the catapults will go down. There's another crane at the sat at the rear of the ship there. I've also left off the flag poles at the front, port and stern of the ship, just because they're another thing that get knocked off, and I leave them till the end. Oh, and then of course we're not far off the last part. So 44 was the aircraft, which is done. And 45, which is last part in the instructions, includes the anchor chain, which I show you. So I don't have that within reach at the moment. I think, here we go, here's the anchor chain. Let's have a look in here. Right, so we've got both anchor chains here. They're already black, so that's going to make that easy. They'll have to be installed on the deck. And we'll also have the shafts for the propellers. And then in here I've got the propellers, which are painted up gold. So that will be done. And then there's just a couple of little attachments, but that basically completes the actual build of the ship. And then we'll have to get on to the weathering side of things. That could be a series on its own. But, we'll come to that bridge when we cross it. So for the moment now, I'll just give this ship outside a bit more time to dry, and I'll start fitting all of these on. We'll come back and have a look at where we're at. Okay, cheers. Okay, welcome back. And at the moment, we've got to put these motorboats. These are the 40-foot long motorboats, and these need to be put on the deck. Just going to have a look here. I've got to make sure these go a correct way so that the angle of the boat sitting on them is level. One end is slightly higher than the other, so I'll have to go through the instructions and check. But basically we need one here, and one in the middle in there. So there's 3 of them on the rear here on this deck, and there'll be one up on the top deck here. So it's just a matter of putting the rack down that they mount on, and then taking our little boat and sitting it on our rack. So that's what I'm about to do. It's a little bit tricky getting in there. Of course, I can take these turrets off. They're just sitting there, so that gives me a little bit more space down there. All right, so I'm going to go and fit these now. And we'll be back in a second, have a look. Oh, one more thing, you might also notice that I managed to fit the whole ship, almost the whole ship, in the frame. I didn't realize there was a setting on the webcam that allows me to have a wider view. I wish I'd known that earlier. So the ship hasn't shrunk. I've just got a better view from the camera. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back. Thought I'd show you some small issues I'm having installing these lifeboats. Now, what's happening is the metal etch parts of the frames that the boats sit on, and I'm talking about this, for example, these smaller ones like this, they the length is different to what the original plastic piece would be, which means, to give an example, just get one of these. Now, there's two of them there which are sitting fine. The top one fits on top and it sits there really nicely, no problem. But the frame that goes under that boat and sits in the top of the next boat, which I'll show you now. So it's going to sit on this boat here. The frame doesn't fit in between that little engine there and the front on the bow, where it sits across there. It actually sits up on that, and it has the boat sitting at an angle. So, for instance, if I put this on here, we'll have a quick look. Let's see what I mean. You can see that, but I'll put a photo up and you'll see what I mean. So what I've had to do is cut them shorter so that it would not sit up on the engine in the middle of the boat there, sit down flat. So that worked out okay. I managed to trim them smaller. The next problem I had was the width of the frames that sit under the boat. The ones at the front on one of them are way too wide compared to the size, the width of the boat itself. So you need to make some little adjustments there to get that to work. The other problem is that these boats come with these metal strips that are like frames that hold them all in place that are supposed to go over the tops of the boats. Now, the problem is that because the struts on the frames that the boats sit on is where they're supposed to connect, aren't in the same position as the plastic ones. So where one little metal piece is supposed to go around and through, let's have a look at one of these. So with these ones, there's supposed to be a metal piece that's going to sit on, connect to the frame, go through the door and come out the other side and go down to the frame on the other side, but they don't line up. Same with here, there's another piece of strip that goes up between this section inside the boat and back down and connects to the frame. Again, it doesn't line up. And then the front one, it also goes over the front of the bow of the boat, but it doesn't line up because all these are different widths to the plastic pieces. So I can't use them on this. I won't be using the photo etch frames. I'll think of something else. And as for these boats, I could probably get them to work over the top boat on here because there's nothing in the way of where those two spots will go across. But again, I have the same problem with this where these frames will be under here where the photo etch is not going to line up. So I don't know what I'll do yet. I need to put something in there that looks like it's holding the boats in place, whether I tie them with a little bit of string or something, and we'll figure that out. But yeah, just a few problems with that photo etch. The sizes don't match up. I've even noticed on the MK1 instructions here that even in the photographs it shows that some of the metal braces aren't even connected to where they're supposed to go. They just stop halfway down the side of the boat, or in one case there's no brace there at all, and in another picture here, it's showing it's not lining up at all either. So you're just going to have to improvise if you've got the MK1. photo etch detail set going with this to get all that work out. So, okay, I will continue and work my way through this back shortly. Hello, welcome back. We've got the lifeboats are all done. Got them all mounted in here. They're all glued in. The officers' ones are all in. A lot of work in those. I'm glad they're completed. I'm going to. I'm not sure about the lashings that are supposed to go on those yet, or what I'm going to use. Whether I use some string or something, I don't know. But for the moment, I'm happy to leave it as it is. The next thing I'm going to work with will be some cranes and the catapults. So they're all painted up and ready to go, as you saw before. So I'll put those in. I've also got some little bits that go along the side of the ship here that I still need to paint up and put on. So I'll do that. And of course the anchors and all the anchor chain has yet to be put on. But for now, I'll install these cranes and maybe the catapults. We'll see about that. Of course, there's also a lot of railing to do yet. All the way around the ship, I've got railing to do. And all that's going to be painted before it's put on. I'll paint that while it's all on the sheets. All right. So anyway, I'll get onto this. I'll put these cranes on and we'll have a look and see how they're looking when they're on. Okay, back in a second. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, I've got the cranes installed up on here. They went on quite well. Managed to use a bit of easy line to do the ropes, chain, whatever it's supposed to be, across the top of it. They went into place. So a bit of a tight fit through the hole in the upper deck there, but it's fine. I don't need to glue them in, so I can turn them around and swing them out if I want. So I'm just going to leave them like that. And not only did I do that, we go down to the rear of the ship and got our float plane on here and its crane in place. Again, that catapult just sits in there, so I can swivel that around or take it off actually. So I haven't glued it down, but it sits in there tight. Plane sits on there nicely. I've left enough room so it won't interfere with the railing that'll go around the deck. Again, I've used the easy line on the crane, and yeah, it's come up really good too. It's all starting to come together now. All I need to do now is work my way up to the front, and we'll have a look here. Now on the front here is another catapult that'll go up on the top of this turret. That'll be the next thing I do. And of course we've still got the anchor chain and all that area at the top, at the back there. But just come back a bit, have a look. And it's looking quite busy up on there now. So yeah, I'll get on with the last catapult, and we'll come back and have a look how that's going. Back shortly. Okay, back, and sorry about that before. I took you up to the front of the ship to the turret to put the plane on top and realised that they were in the wrong position. It actually goes on the turret at the rear, so I moved it back down to the rear now, and there you can see we've got the float plane up on the on its catapult on the top of that turret, and yeah, it's looking good. So I'll continue on now and work on some of the little pieces along the side that need putting on. Then we need to go down to the front of the ship and get this anchor chain and anchors on. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back, and we've got the anchor chains all in place on the deck here, and the anchors are on, which you can't see, but they're there. Now, I was going to try and connect the chains to the anchors, and I was going to have one just hanging from the chain, but the chain links are too small to go around the connection points on the anchor, as I found out. So I've ended up putting the anchors in the raised position on both sides, and we've got the chains running through down where they belong. So that all looks really nice there. Now I've got a lot of little pieces here that I've just painted up. They should be dry shortly, that go along the sides of the ship here. And then after that, I'm going to put on the flagpoles at either end of the ship. I'm just checking the fitting with those at the moment and just getting, it's pretty hard to see, but they're photo etched, but I'm going to get those fitted on. Then I will look at probably some of the, going to have to start on some of the rigging. Now the railings have to go all the way around the ship, but I need to paint them first. I'll probably do that today. I'll at least get the undercoat done on the railings while they're on the sprue. Just have a look. So I've got plenty of railings to use, and I'll get these painted up now as it's early in the morning, and then this afternoon I'll probably get the base coat on them so they can be ready to be worked on tomorrow, and then it'll be a case of doing all the rigging. So the railings won't get in the way of that, so that's not a problem doing that first. But that's about it for this video. So yeah, the next video will go into all of that. So once again, please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notifications bell there and get notified of the videos that are coming up at least twice a week at the moment. And go back and have a look at the series if you want to go back and see from the beginning of this build right through. And give us a thumbs up if you like it. Comment, always comment. Give us comments down below. Questions, suggestions, anything. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.